Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 17th May 2017. The first article, different candidates, different roads. This is about Iran elections. There are two major contesting candidates. One is the present president Hassan Rouhani and the other one is Ibrahim Raisi. In this, Hassan Rouhani is a moderate and he is also a centrist. Ibrahim Raisi is a conservative and he has got the support from the establishment, and he is very close to the supreme leader Ayatollah Khomeini. And Hassan Rouhani, he has taken the Iran towards global integration. What I mean by this is, during his era, Iran nuclear deal has been done, and the Iran has been out of international economic sanctions, and in the process to continue the Iran growth or to continue the integration of Iran with other nations, Hassan Rouhani has to come into power again. But however, his regime has certain problems. One is majorly related to unemployment. Inequalities are also on rise. These are the major complaints. In spite of this, Hassan Rouhani enjoys more than 48% of support in Iran. But coming to Ibrahim Raisi, though he did not enjoy the support as like Mr. Rouhani, he has got the support of the establishment and revolutionary guards. And second is, another candidate who is third in line, he wants to withdraw from the competition so that all conservative votes can unite with Ibrahim Raisi. So it can make the competition much worse and serious. So if Iran has to continue its journey of integration with global players and need to get greater legitimacy on global arena, then it need to have a liberal leader, liberal mind at the helm of affairs. That is what is our opinion. And coming to new base, new basket. It is about revision of index of industrial production. So month on month basis, IIP is given. Once in 2 years, an annual survey of industries is conducted. There has to be a correlation between IIP data collected and annual survey of industries. But it is missing in the last 3 years. The major reason is IIP has become irrelevant. Let me put it this way. So IIP, it has come or it has got some 620 items. Let's take calculators, which is the example given here. We all stopped using the calculator. So the amount of production of the calculator has come down to 0. It means in the place of calculator, we are using the mobile phone. Out of these 620 items, the calculator need to be replaced with a mobile phone now. And how many mobile phones are getting manufactured? It reflects the correct industrial data. But however, so the calculator is down. But if mobile phone has to be introduced, then IIP has to be revised. So that why can't we make IIP revisions dynamic? So this basket of goods on the basis of which we calculate the IIP, why can't we make it dynamic and regularly updated by itself based on the proportion of the production of it in Indian economy? And second is, IIP's objective is to not identify the industrial production. Its objective is to identify the direction of industrial production, how the direction is changing. So in this context, IIP is being revised. There are two major revisions. One is the base year is changed to 2011-12, and the second is this basket of goods are being raised to 809, and this basket of goods and their relevance is automatically updated based on their fall or increase in productions. So that's why the IIP today is expected to be better reflective of industrial scenario in India. And the second point over here is, if we analyze new base, new changes, and we see the previous industrial growth, it clearly gives us an indication that industrial growth in India is not well calculated. And the second thing is, government has argued that demonetization did not lead to fall in industrial growth. Now the new index clearly reflects a fall in industrial growth in the organized sector, and you know that demonetization has worst affected the unorganized sector, and we shall see the changes in that area. So Make in India, what is the impact of Make in India? If we have to understand this, we also need to have a understanding of an IIP better. So, if we see Manmohan Singh government, it has been criticized for policy paralysis. But if we see, based on the new revised data, Manmohan Singh government has performed better than the existing government. That's what we can infer. And the next article is Gold Shines. So here, you know that Indians use the gold for various purposes. One is ornamental value, a hedge against this inflation, and third thing is they also use that as an investment. So, as gold imports are surging, then obviously the trade imbalance is increasing. So our exports are not rising as expected, our imports are growing. And gold is significant as an import. The reason being is gold is unproductive in economy. If I have some money, if I invest in some financial instrument, the money comes into production, investment, capital formation. But the money which is invested into gold, that do not come into capital formation. That is the reason why government has to allow for alternative financial instruments, and it has to exhibit the returns on them to the investors on gold so that people can turn towards them. So the way to move away from gold for the people is to provide them with alternative financial instruments. The government has started gold bonds, gold monetization scheme. By and large, it was not very much successful. So changing the attitudes of the people towards investment patterns, that is a way forward with regard to the decreasing importance of gold for consumers and individual households in India. Held at ransom. So it is about WannaCry or ransomware. So actually, it was identified first, or it was developed in the United States. And then it got leaked and someone made use of it. And it has caused almost $4 billion loss across the world with regard to its, or else with regard to loss of access to files to millions of people. So in this context, interconnected world, how vulnerable it has become, it clearly exposes that. So identifying a person is also becoming difficult as the payments are going through bitcoins. So the cryptocurrency has added new challenge. Encryption, cryptocurrency, malware, all these together, these are providing for a critical challenge for cyber crimes in India. Critical challenge to answer the cyber crimes in India and also in the world. So that is the reason why this article suggests that there has to be a global network or there has to be a global rule book to fight the particular cyber threat which is coming to the world. And let's get into the page. We need to find a way around this jingoism. This is about the Kashmir problem. Now, what is the solution for Kashmir? The solution has to be military or the solution has to be through dialogue. So, here in this interview, the Northern Command retired person, what he says is this. In Kashmir, the major problem is the trust deficit in India. And this trust deficit is getting widened due to strong existence of social media and also electronic media. And this is dividing the people like never before, and it is also making them jingoistic. So this is what has to be curbed. And second thing is, India has to engage with the Kashmiri Valley and its people and the civil society over there. The polarized discourse which we are facing has to change. So the way forward over here is to engage all the sections of the society, and a developmental narrative of the government has to supersede extremist narrative. So I am putting this point as giving an alternative narrative with a focus on unemployment, development, infrastructure, etc. That is very much necessary. So that is what this article talks about. Now let's get into the news page. Now here, NGO gets notice for alleged FCRA violations. So what FCRA stands for? Foreign Contributions Regulation Act. So what is this? Any company or NGO in India or any political party or association in India, if it has to receive foreign funds as donations, it shall have FCRA registrations. And This registration is managed by Home Ministry. And there are stringent rules how these funds have to be used. And there has to be a proper reporting on the use of these funds. So in this context, Home Ministry, it is about to cancel licenses to NGOs which have violated the FCRA norms. You also know that NGOs are suffering from legitimacy crisis. So there are huge issues of corruption related to NGOs. Next is, let's go to the next page. Palestine, Israel must coexist. So let's see the Palestine President Mr. Mahmoud Abbas statement. So Mr. Abbas, what he stated is, a Palestine state has to be created as per the borders that are existing before 1967 war. And East Jerusalem shall be its capital. So the East Jerusalem was occupied by the Israel in 1967 war. And India's stand is, Israel and Palestine shall coexist. And India wants to have an independent sovereign Palestine peacefully coexisting with Israel as part of the future. And then, safeguard rights of the online users. You know that the Facebook has agreed with WhatsApp to share the information, where WhatsApp will submit the information to the Facebook. Then in this context, what about the rights of users? So with the data, the user data rights are not yet been conceptualized in India, and the privacy is at stake. So that's what is the issue which has been taken up by the Supreme Court, and it is for discussion. And then let's go to the business page. Tough to solve jobs issue. So if employment has to be generated, what Mr. Arvind Subramaniam is saying is the growth has to be achieved first. And the growth has to cross 8 to 10%. That is the first statement. And the second thing is, previously, the areas where the growth was dominant, like agriculture, infrastructure, IT, these are facing new challenges now. You know, after the Trump's protectionism has come up, IT is got stuck. And then infrastructure, policy paralysis is still visible. So these are all the issues which we have. National employment policy this year. So, a government is about to bring in a national employment policy, and sector-wise how the employment prospects have to be revived. That will be dealt in this national employment policy. Coming to the world page. So India welcome to join BRI, that is Belt and Road Initiative, as per China. You know that Belt and Road Forum is being conducted in China, and India did not attend for the same. So in this context, what the China is talking about is India shall leave its zero-sum mentality and shall join the Belt and Road Initiative. That is the first point. And second is, India wants to become a superpower. So India has to shed the narrow perspective of looking the global affairs, and it has to get a big country attitude. What is meant by big country attitude? They take the example of US and China. US-China differ on many issues, but wherever the convergence exists, they work together. Similarly, India and China may have differences. Wherever there are convergence, they can work together. That is what is the representative of China, who is saying over here. Now, let us see the consolidation of the news today. So, Iran elections, there are two candidates, and Hassan Rouhani, if he wins the elections, Iranian nuclear deal is expected to move forward on the expected line. And new base and new basket. So IIP, there are two major changes. Base year changed to 2011-12, and second is the basket on basis of which IIP is decided will be automatically updated now. And the next is cyber security, ransomware. There has to be a global rule book to fight the cyber security. That is the carry home point. Gold shines. If the gold as an investment choice has to come down for Indians, the way forward is developing alternative financial investment sources for them. So, development of these sources which are remunerative, that secures the people more. And then we have the news and Kashmiri unrest. The way forward for Kashmiri unrest is visible outreach and engagement with civil society. These are the 2 points which we need to remember. And then we have seen the news articles. Thank you very much and all the best.